You are a man. Shut the fuck up.
Nigga, do you got something you want to say?
Don't worry about me, I'm a god.
Now some can buy me. The Billage of Perception. Billlie has finally come back with a long-awaited Chapter 2 to their debut, The Billage of Perception. At first, Chapter 2 doesn't stray far from the aesthetic of its predecessor. The first two posters, soft in approach and almost homemade in execution, fit snugly with the indie film look Billlie has carved out for themselves since debut. On the 11th day of August, we were informed that Billie's world would be destroyed. The poster not only contains actions that were later showed in The End of the World and The Awakening film, but a brief 4 sentences that explain this comeback perfectly. Retrogression of time. Retrogression is the process of returning to an earlier state, typically a worse one. This is to represent the girls returning back to the school, their world where their innocence was essentially taken from them and thus, collapsed. Returning back to such times with Billlie Love, most of the girls show regret and remorse, while some show traces of resentment. Progression of light. To progress is to move forward gradually. Light is often used as symbolism to uncover but could also represent a brand new day. When the sun rises, you are given a new opportunity to right any wrongs you may have done from the previous day. The old promise becomes the new vow. You stay there, I'll go to save you. Manifestation of shadow. Manifestation is the act of using internal energy to bring aspirations to life. In this case, the manifestation of a shadow speaks to Billie's bravery. Shadows come with darkness, the unknown and fear surrounding it. However, in the darkest moments, you end up realizing the true strength you possess. This call to darkness directly hints at the main rock concept for Ring My Bell. What a Wonderful World. Manifestation is often associated with spirituality. It's worth noting that on the same poster, the words called and uncalled, God will be present, which most likely speaks to God watching even when you aren't thinking or speaking of Him. In this scenario, we could swap Billlie Love out for God. In the film, we see that Billlie Love is nowhere in sight and the last thing on the young girls' minds, until they are in distress, only then she appears to help. In another poster released featuring a blue and purple-eyed cat designed with a threshold technique, it says the mask young Billlie was wearing all the time is hanging under the tree. The black cat's eyes are shining as she watches the 7 of them. This implies that Billlie Love is always watching the girls, hence why she would always appear in their times of need. The final sentence, though, speaks to the message Billlie is trying to deliver: the world destroys itself and a mature self is born. My interpretation of this line began as literal and bloomed into a deeper meaning with one's self. The previous comeback's title Jingamingyo explored childhood themes and youth. It seems like from there, we picked up back where we left off. The girls are once again not only thinking about their youth but their time with Billlie Love. It's from here that Billlie Love transcends just a physical character and more as the symbolism of Billie's youth. The girls look back at their younger selves during times they were fearful and how Billlie Love's support helped them in those lonesome times. By the end, Billlie Love seems to be left behind. I take Billlie Love's existence to represent our childhood. At first things are scary, new environments, new sounds, new things in general are hard for people to adjust to, no less children. However, as time goes on, we become comfortable and adjust, normalizing things that once made us anxious. We leave fear behind the older we get, no longer needing the small things that gave us safety. In this way, Billlie Love was safety for them. Now the girls are older. With the loss of Billlie Love, came the loss of innocence which they seek to reclaim. At the end of the film, the girls say my Billlie, which I interpreted as my inner child. The one who keeps me safe, the one who helped them through those dark times, the one who gave me hope and the confidence to keep going. This is why they're manifesting a shadow, calling on those dark times to find their Billlie, or Billlie Love. Other imagery matches this theme, such as the use of tigers and tiger stripes throughout the poster designs, as well as Haram with their eyes in the music video. I believe that the tiger imagery and the cat mask had a connection as well with youth and growing up. It's no surprise that the first time we see the cat mask, it's on Billlie Love when she was a child. Domestic cats are domesticated and therefore harmless, oftentimes seen as cute. A stark contrast to big cats, who are associated with strength and strike fear in the average person. It represents Billlie being older and stronger, opposed to their child self who was easy to scare and often lost. As corny as it is, when I seen the tiger eyes that Haram held, my immediate thought went to Eye of the Tiger by the band Survivor, a hard rock song that has cemented itself in pop culture. The chorus reads, "It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of a rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night and he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger," which I believe could also be related to the theme of this comeback. My analysis of Billlie Love being a symbolism of their childhood was also bolstered by the track drop titled MacGuffin's Who's the Joker? For those unaware, a MacGuffin is a plot device that essentially keeps the story going. In the context of Billlie, that could be Billlie Love. Speaking of the tracks, in the track drop some members are seen with t-shirts that have the designs of the track names such as Moon Sua and Haruna with Brave, a song from Matilda, as well as Zuki and Shion with Sun Palace, Stroop Effect. Billlie taking a much darker approach with Ring Ma Bell definitely makes sense in the progression of execution following their album releases. Ring X Ring seems to be more fearful, Chinga Mingyo feels more playful, and Ring Ma Bell feels fierce and confident. For Chapter 1, the bell ringing on the 11th day was to be feared. However, for Ring Ma Bell, it's almost like they are taunting the dark presence that forebodes them. It's also worth noting that the girls made a promise to Billlie Love that when she rang her bell, they would come save her. It takes bravery to face and run towards darkness head on, which is what they would need to do to find Billlie Love. Billlie references Ronald Dahl's Matilda in both the teaser images and a song track. In Matilda, the main character is a young child who's facing abuse at the hands of her family and multiple bullies. It's her bravery that ends her suffering. The story of Matilda clearly inspired Billlie in this moment. There's other choices in which were made to emphasize this running theme of bravery and fierceness, such as the speakers having the letter B on it, clearly standing for Billlie. Speakers are used to make things louder, whether this means music or speech. There were multiple posters that were made for this comeback as well, such as the tiger posters I referenced earlier, as well as one that reads Chemical X for a Billlie School Club, a rock and roll concert poster called Billlie World, and another design that's illegible for me, which is on purpose. This design technique is commonly used in band t-shirts, which is fitting for Billie's classic rock genre this time around. I'm not certain what the Chemical X is referring to, as my first thought went to Powerpuff Girls and FX. In the context of Powerpuff Girls, Chemical X is the chemical that gave the girls their powers. Maybe the Chemical X in Billie's world simply refers to the infamous bell, as it's the entire reason the story of Billlie begun. Ring Ma Bell in Chapter 2 could also be representing teenage rebellion, embracing the darkness maturity that comes with adolescence while moving on from the naivety that comes with childhood. For Billlie, this could be essential as their childhood seemed to carry a weighted trauma. Many teenagers find an outlet in more darker aesthetics and music to cope and express themselves. After finding their inner child in Jingamingyo, they're now ready to right the wrong of abandoning their inner child and embrace adulthood head-on. Or I could be completely wrong in everything. That's the fun of it all. The Billage of Perception logo goes through a transformation like the girls. Chapter 1 was originally in Adobe's New Spirit typeface, which is popular in designs that typically lean more indie and vintage in aesthetic. Vintage and indie are terms I would use to describe Chapter 1 as well, which seem to lean more indie craft at moments, showcasing the girls a house with childhood items. There's also some horror influences. The pictures of the 6 girls outside in school uniform easily reminds me of Goosebumps, Fear Street and Scooby-Doo, popular children's horror series. While I'm sure the association is most likely not intentional, it is worth pointing out that this horror inspiration mixed with indie design reminds me of Red Velvet's Perfect Velvet, which also utilized these design techniques. Another similarity the albums share is the connection of pizza, as Billie's album comes with a Bizarria Run and Hide Pizza restaurant sticker, as well as a use of a lonesome house as the main setting and a ticket. The new logo's typeface goes from serif to blackletter. Blackletter is a type classification inspired by the Middle Ages. In our modern society, blackletter is often found in band designs for an edgy yet still clean look. This transformation is fitting not only because of the concept change but the progression in Billie's life. Chapter 1's logo is soft, inviting, and the addition of the yellow color pencil B written over helps the kid-like nature of the entire thing fit. Chapter 1 is when Billlie first saw the world on the 11th day. Chapter 2, their world is being destroyed, signaling death and closure, which the sharp, harsh lines of the black letter typeface provide. The color pencil B shape shifts into a black letter B as well, the method of calling attention to it changing from color to shape. It's located in a circle. This would be a combination mark, which is a logo that combines a pictorial and word marks. This combo specifically is an emblem and a word mark. Other logos that feature black letter typefaces are MacGuffin's Who's the Joker? And Brave, a song from Matilda. My first thought that came to mind when I saw the track list was those old graphic design sites from the 2010s. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the site I used to use in middle school, but I recall fonts similar to these being offered on there. I would use them all the time, so seeing this track list and the themes of adolescence made me laugh. I'm positive it has absolutely nothing to do with Billlie, but I just wanted to get it off my chest. Nostalgia is a crazy thing. The album comes in 3 versions, Lux, Main, and Queens. 2 of these words are in Latin, which is unsurprising given the sentence marks in Latin on the concept poster. Lux is Latin for light, referencing the progression of light. This album's representative color is green, intentional. Green symbolizes growth. In this context, the growth of Billlie. The album cover features a large tree, the one in which Billlie Love's mask was hanging and where she was said to be looking at them from. The 7 of them are in front the tree. Mane is the hair on the neck of an animal. In the context of Billlie, it's most likely referring to manes found on a lion, as it's a big cat. While not being a tiger, lions are also known for their strength and are a symbol of perseverance. Manes on lions are like a peacock's tail. Its size and color is for display, specifically as a sign of maturity, dominance and strength. In this version, the girls could be found sitting on top of a bridge in their school uniform. There's a striped path before them. The use of stripes could be found on all the photo card designs as well as the CD designs in a globe format. Just like its black letter logo typeface, stripes are one of the most ancient patterns in design. In the Middle Ages, stripes were seen as a pattern to stay away from, as it often was a sign of being an outcast. They are also associated with being bold and daring. The stripes being on the path could represent Billie's path to becoming daring and bold, even if it makes them an outcast to those around them. The album cover is a shade of red that reminds me of the vegetable beets. This shade of red immediately brings to mind blood, power, compassion, sophistication and dominance. Coincidentally, or maybe not, these words are also associated with big cats as well. Lastly, we have Queens, which in Latin means rest. This could be referring to many things in terms of Billlie. For starters, a drawing of a moon stylized with a face is featured on the album art and the clouds. This immediately brought me back to early childhood illustration books, which would often feature faces in moons, bringing together this theme of childhood versus adolescence. It could also be referencing Billie's own song Moon Palace from Chapter 1 of The Collective Soul and the Unconscious Mind, where the girls speak about feeling as if they're forever walking in a time loop, in search of the answer for why. Fitting as the moon represents the transfer of time with its phases as well as eternity, aka, a loop. Opposed to the main version, we see Billlie from the perspective behind them. They're looking towards the moon, the same thing they speak about in Moon Palace. When the moonlight fills their eyes, they'll head towards the misty road in search for an answer. The song honestly feels like it's about Billlie being haunted by the 11th day when Billlie Love disappeared and how they did nothing to help her, despite all she's done for them. The dreamy nature of this album cover therefore makes sense in relation. It could also represent the feeling that the moon is always watching you, the same way Billlie Love does. It could be why the girls look towards the moon, or are reminded of the 11th day when the moonlight fills their eyes. Another interpretation for the design led me to this idea of resting in terms of death. Foreshadowing or not, the first thought that came to mind when the girls began to lay flowers on Billlie Love when she was in the grass was death. The same way you would place flowers on your loved one's burial site to pay your respect. In this case, with Billlie being gone, rest could simply mean them putting their childhood to rest as well. Either way, both interpretations could relate to the album's color choice of blue. Blue represents sadness, grief and depression, all of which comes with either losing a loved one or adolescence. Even non-physical ideals such as losing friendships, losing morals and losing interest in things you once found exciting could be met with a wave of emotion. The word emotion could be found in the first track, My B equals the birth of emotion. Blue also represents the sky, imagination, wisdom, bravery and confidence, all themes that are shown throughout chapter 2. Bravery is directly referenced in the song title Brave, a song from Matilda. Blue calls upon introspective journeys, one of which Billlie is currently on as they recall their time with Billlie Love and how they essentially abandoned her in return. They're reflecting on their relationship with her, their relationship with their inner child and how they could regain their Billlie back. While we're on the subject of colors, I do wonder if the color choice of these albums have any role to play in Sun Palace's title, which speaks about the Stroop effect. Stroop effect explains the phenomenon of the human brain struggling to identify the name of a color when it's written in another color. It reveals an individual person's selective attention capacity, skills and how quick they could process information. All three versions are designed through collages from the album cover, to its back, the artwork poster and mini L holder design. This is the second time Billlie has used this design technique, the first was showcased in Snowy Night's cover art. Collage art is a neat trick to bring abstract ideals together to make one cohesive vision. In Chapter 2's art, the collage method allows us to see Billlie from three perspectives through a panorama format, so I'm finishing this up this morning as I watch the music video and some of what I suspected is true. But even me, everybody is Billlie confirms that Billlie Love has transcended character and is a symbolism of something, if not at the very least childhood. The speakers having the B on it was intentional as well given Tsuki's scene during the second chorus. The bridge and final chorus shows Billlie becoming brave and taking a leap into the sky. This leap reminded me of Heejin's final run in Hi Hi as well as them flying in the sky, but this is not about Luna, even though I had the urge to make it about Luna. Towards the end, Billlie and Billlie Love are face to face. Child to young adults. Even in literal form though, I think this scene still fits into my interpretation well. Also things I completely missed, The Things, November, and November Band. But to conclude, I definitely think this is Billie's best project to date somehow someway. The way they keep reinventing themselves for every comeback is impressive and speaks to the creativity of the team working with them as well as Billlie themselves. Not every band could pull off this concept as well as they did. I'm impressed. I also ended up loving the title track more than I expected, so I'm happy. Congrats to Billlie on their comeback and thank you for watching.
Who fuck is it? You're a state funny morals from cable. Don't switch it. Don't switch it.
It's over. That's it, okay? That's all I gotta say.